Florida, one of the prettiest places on the Florida East Coast, and this is a gentleman named Glenn Greenstein. That homosexual has nothing to do with what is called gay. He began his odyssey into the world when he was 15 years old, and this is his graphic story.
Homosexual lifestyle offered so many avenues that looked promising, and I tried every single one of them.
Turn it on, baby.
I mean, there wasn't an avenue that I didn't go down, and I kept coming to dead-end stops, and what I ended up with was me, and me was empty.
His first trip to a homosexual nightclub was at age 15. For 14 years after that, Glenn Greenstein of Vero Beach, Florida, steadily and completely walked the life of a homosexual.
At first, I believed that I was just having a good time. Then I began to frequent all the bars. One was not enough, and there were some very bizarre things that I experienced, was part of, and witnessed. A lot of them were leather experiences, S&M bars, swapping friends, wild parties.
But why? Glenn says initially it was for the thrill, but a little closer look shows he was really hungry for acceptance and love.
It was easy for me to find acceptance and a version of love that I believed was the real thing. And we forget that these are real people desiring to find truth in life and love in life, and they're never going to find it in the lifestyles that they've chosen. I never did.
Over time, Glenn came to identify himself with the homosexual community. Therefore, like many of his contemporaries, Glenn needed others to accept and validate his choice to be a homosexual.
It was very important to me that everybody validated me, because I couldn't validate me. I wasn't too sure. There was no right, there was no wrong, there was only what was good for me. What made me feel good is what became the most important.
And yet, as the years passed, Glenn found he was no longer satisfied with self-indulgence. He began to long for inner peace and fulfillment.
And so I had come full circle. You know, from what was fun in the beginning became abusive in the end. I had a lot of anger. I was angry at the homosexual lifestyle because it wasn't giving me what I had hoped for.
At the end of himself and desperately seeking for answers, one day Glenn stumbled onto something that not only gave him hope, but changed his life. He had been at a party when he noticed an unusual-looking book on his friend's bookshelf.
The room was dark except for the light on the television, but the binder on this book seemed to glow in the dark. So this feeling of urgency came over me that I should get up and go get this book.
The book that Glenn found was a Bible. He took it home and started to read it where it had fallen open, Psalm 51.
And as I began to read the psalm, it spoke to me as if it was specifically for me. And I began to experience a supernatural type of warmth within me that I'd not experienced in any physical encounter or any party or any place that I had ever gone.
There in his home, Glenn prayed as he had never prayed before.
As I talked to him and the words became more of a reality and I meant them and I spoke to God wanting his forgiveness, I experienced a relief, a release, a presence of warmth within me and on me and in the room that I was in that I'd never experienced before in any occasion. And I was aware that God was with me and that he loved me and that he could forgive me and was forgiving me.
On that day in 1986, Glenn Greenstein was instantly and totally delivered from his homosexual lifestyle. He is now married and recently had a baby boy. Glenn has learned firsthand that it is possible to be free.
There is a way out. It is a choice. It's possible if God is at the center. And I experienced a true release and relief of this tremendous burden of homosexual lifestyle.
There is a way out for you if you're involved in this.